Hello, everyone. Good morning. Hope you're good. Um, yeah, I hope each day is presenting um, new feelings. We often wake up and repeat the same feeling as the day before because we do the same things. So I hope there's adjustments occurring. Change is good. I know that the kind of change we're going through can be really challenging. It can be concerning, and our issues around security, um, relationship with fear is surfaced. Um, but that's how we learn more about ourselves. And I don't know, it's it was never going to be easy. We were told or given or sold this idea that life was supposed to go a certain way, and I think that just limited our capacity to really feel into everything. And so we're having to mature and grow up and come to terms with how insane things really are, and how powerful how powerful lunatics are, and how dangerous things can get. It's not a negative thing. It's a discovery process. Um, it's concerning. It's a predicament. We could lose something really dope. Um, I mean, it's gonna take those of us that feel things on a strong level to have a little skin in the game, to stand up and stand for certain um, thresholds to not be crossed. Certain levels of change um, are limiting rather than limitless, right? So certain times inversion is set up that way, that a change is brought in that may look positive, but it's deceitful, and we're deceived. We've been deceived. Um, we interact with a hive mind that we all have. There's nobody that doesn't have the hive mind as part of their existence. So, um, I mean, that just in general is where it's at. Um, we we are never free of the hive mind until a very radical transformation happens, really toward the end of your days, if you're a shaman and you've done all this specific recapitulation work, or you have some other path that has led you to that capacity to unhook from the deepest level of that hypnosis. And you wouldn't be prepared to handle it had you not spent your life cultivating your awareness to be able to prepare for it anyway. So this is like the real thing that I'm referring to. It doesn't mean there's not different levels and different ways in which you can come out of hypnosis. Um, but we're amazing. We're so amazing that we are like the prize. We are the energy. We are the electricity. We are the power. And we're just in this strange situation where a very unique challenge has been presented to us through our own, what seem to be our own brothers and sisters. And so how do we learn about that? How do we come to terms with that? There's no way to know for sure. Shamans say that there are beings here that are not. When you look at them, they don't have the same energetic structure as a natural being. And so I think that's the way to look at this, is that there are non-natural beings that come from some other place. It doesn't mean that they don't serve a purpose, but I think we're going to find out that what the Toltecs have learned, and then the world in which has been looking closely at the details of things, I think we're going to discover that there's correlation between what shamans have come to understand um, and what we're running into right now. I think we're in the cabal wars, right? We're in a time where multiple different factions of sorcerers, elite, powerful families are at war with each other. And I think we're gonna learn more and more um, in the future. But right now, there's no way to know much of anything, because there's so much deception and so much projection. So, but we can really feel it, and we can try to embrace and get to know our own intuition so much stronger than before. So healing your inner circle is actually really really important. It doesn't mean you have to make peace with everyone, but you make peace with yourself somehow. And you won't be able to make peace with yourself if there's unresolved issues with others and that those people are willing to work them out. Then you should work them out, because then you'll feel peace eventually and you'll learn something. Um, so our inner circle is a lot often how the shadow is healed. Often people don't want to face those that know them because they don't want to be called out for what that, it's just weird. We seek often to go away from our inner circle in order to try to help or to make a difference, when really the work is closer to home often. And then so we're not as effective when we go out into the world if we haven't taken care of the things in our life that matter the most. And I mean, some shamans talk about being indifferent and that there's nothing that matters more than anything else. But I'm talking about your wound, your shadow wound. We all have shadow wounds. And if you haven't resolved your shadow wound, um, it just will show up later. It just does. You don't want to be a lopsided being and just have this really cool idea. You want to also take care of all aspects of your being, um, prior to trying to um, claim or triple down on the gift that you carry. It's a delicate dance. You want to have your roots. You want to be able to ground before you do dreaming. You want to be able to do dreaming before you claim to, be able to see. But it's. I mean, I guess it's different for everybody. There are some rare oracle type people who sort of skip some of the standard steps. Um, but I've found that most people end up having to go back to the basics if they skip certain stages. And I've talked about that, and I'm still going back to the basics. And um, I just believe that that's, for whatever reason, our ego is designed where it doesn't like to go back. Um, I used to be that way on every level. Um, and I'm still resisting a lot of things. It's just, it takes time to come to terms with how the hive mind drives us to avoid that which would make us the most powerful. And so that's really confronting. But rather than sit there and try to force yourself to change on that level, like being okay with where you're at and understanding that the reason the hive mind has a hold of you is because it's got a hold of so many. And so we need the help of our brothers and sisters collectively. When we all start to unbind from this stuff, we're going to have a really unique, and we already are, we're feeling it now, but there's a shift of perception that's coming. It's going to get even stronger. So I hope that's, something that's happening for you, that you're recognizing the hive mind. You're willing to acknowledge that, you're far from being able to be done with it, but that you're starting to make, spend more time away from the hive mind and listening to the soft voice, the voice of the seer, or just to being in silence. And ideally, silence is the hive mind is what keeps us from silence. And if you reach silence, then you're in the realm of the seer. It gets really incredible. It keeps going. Don't be afraid to allow that to unfold on a deeper and deeper level. And it's all about vibration. So some people they raise their vibration through the food that they eat. Some people raise their vibration through the way that they pray, and some people raise their vibration through the music that they make, or it can be through their understanding of sexual energy and their capacity to rise and function with it, a lot of sexual energy without losing sexual energy. And some people raise their vibration through what we call not doings, or the recapitulation, or the magical passes, or Tai Chi, or Qigong, or the forest bathing. All of these things, anything that you can think of that makes you feel fucking incredible, right? That's where it's at. And there's a resistance. There's a force that wants to keep you from doing that. There's something that puts pressure on us to make sure that we stay put, that we don't get really strong. And so knowing that that pressure exists, and making peace with that, um, it allows you to unlock the creativity in which you can dance as best that you can, knowing that this is all it is. Like, yeah, our predicament's pretty intense. It's pretty hard to believe, and there are opportunities for change, and those changes are coming. But unless the individual is making room within their being to receive these this um, this message, then it's really difficult to truly come out of the hive mind. And there's another hive mind, like an uploaded new version of the hive mind waiting for all of us to fall into, is what I'm trying to say. There's no way to be safe in numbers. There's no like team to align with. And yet, through as we individuate and we become conscious of our potential and our contribution, we do want to work in a community that we are guided to, because that's how contributions work. You can't make a contribution. Well, don't get me wrong. Any perceptual liberation, any healing of the nervous system, any breakthrough, um, that is rare and unique, which is often done in solitude, is a contribution 100%. But there comes a point where that individuated perceiver, someone who's done that kind of incredible work, is called to go into a community of sorts, or to make a contribution to the collective. So, um, listening, if you're called to be alone, that's okay. If you're called to make a contribution, that's okay. If you're avoiding your inner circle to go try to make a contribution somewhere else, then that's there's going to be like energetic dysfunction that shows up. You're going to feel it. And so just, it's okay too, though. That's all good. That's how you're going to find out more about yourself, right? There's no shame to carry. You may feel shame or experience shame, but you can let it go once you understand that you are where you're at. The real strength is being vulnerable enough to admit where you're at, get to the emotion that you're carrying, which is weight, which is heavy, so that you can become light again. Um, the lighter we get, the more expansive our experience, and then the less contraction, then the more our nervous system heals. So it's sort of a circle. You start out just trying to heal the nervous system, and then as you go to heal it, you start to develop and understand the nervous system is powerful. And as you learn how to relax and how to handle energy moving through you, and you learn how to be in a state of really incredible ecstatic awareness, and you learn how to maintain that, then more nervous system repair occurs, because ecstasy is what heals us. It's the joy. Joy is a rare state. Most people don't know what joy is. Not true joy. They've had happy moments, but joy is a really, really dope, powerful, uh, whole experience. I wish it for everybody, and however it happens. It took so much for it to come into my life. I had to go through so much for it to happen, and I had to fight hard to get to it. I mean, I that's how I did it. I know people that had just found a way to do it, sort of by letting everything go through isolation, through individuation. Um, but I would argue that there's depths of joy that cannot be accessed um, alone. And so the super powerful evolutionary path is eventually to do the shadow work with another. We were given this the male and female opportunity for a reason. Our parts fit for a reason. It's powerful to be able to journey with another, um, to unlock each other's armor, to unbind from what our childhood projections or expectations were around love or sex or passion or all of that. There's a creative door that can be opened when you work with someone who's willing to um, be truly honest about how they feel. It's so hard to find. It's so hard to be that. Those are the people that would be in place for the shift that we're in. It's not about how much information you've gathered over the years. It's not about how many followers and subscribers you have. It's about those that have accessed joy, have healed their nervous system, are willing to be wrong, open to learning, curious, not attached, in tune. Um, kind of have to have your head on a swivel. You have to be open to all the different ways in which you can be of service so that you can really, really listen and see where you're most needed. Being of service doesn't mean you have to be working with others. Service is a state of perception, but it will lead eventually to you being able to make a contribution that will heal your heart. Because it is, even though this is a dream, it's a beautiful one, and you express your love for your existence through the intensity of your relationship with this mother and her children. So I don't know how to explain it, but spirit responds to actions that are grandiose, that are larger than life. People that wear the armor of God experience those feelings. They know what that is. There's a certain perception, a place of no pity, and when you no longer feel sorry for yourself and you're willing to do what's needed and you're willing to stand for um, the change that is being ushered in, or the truth, right? Speak truth to power. When one is ready to die and is thankful for their life, the gratitude is pouring in, then they seek death as an advisor because they realize that they want to be here as long as they can. They're not seeking the next thing. And that's a difference. I think a lot of people, even shamans I work with, they're so focused on what is available in the afterlife that they're not really as they're just not as creative as they could be during this time. I get it. I know what they're picking up on and what they're preparing themselves for, but there's a way to do that while having a really romantic experience with knowledge here in this light, on this level, in this realm, using the light, using the forest, using the mountains, using the earth as a means to communicate directly, and then sharing that with others. You know, pure affection is such a rare thing, and it's really often just short lived in our childhood. Some of us don't even experience it, but it's available to you now. And it's scary to take the shields down that would allow you to feel it that strongly, but it's worth it. And we're in a time where that's being supported more and more. So removing the shields is not something to do recklessly. And luckily the Toltec's designed a system for it. I'm sure there's other systems out there. I'm focusing on the Toltec system not as a to become a Toltec, to unlock. I'm using it because of how effective it is, but my goal is to unbind from any system whatsoever eventually, because I believe we're moving into an absolute new, beautiful opportunity. Um, I believe everything that's ever come before us was just a miracle, and it's just knowledge, and it's full. It's total, and the totality of things is being presented to us through this orchestrated process that we're in. It's a procession. It's a dream. You and I are not bound to this dream. Um, sorry, we we are bound to this dream, but we are not bound to this dream eternally. We are not technically um, ensnared in it. We've been convinced that we are, and that convincing is so thorough that we, even shamans that not learn how to break away, end up not doing so because of how terrifying it is to go away from the herd. And it is. That's okay. So again, making peace with how incredible we are, how far we are from what we what we're capable of, but still making as much use of this experience, unlocking and liberating our way, our lives, and acknowledging the struggle. Struggle is necessary, so that's why I believe everything's perfect. It's a predicament, and we could lose everything, but I don't think we will, because I think we're going to wake up. I think the human mass, enough collective mass beings, have woken up. But there's a lot of traps that have been laid. New ones, you know. These are smart forces at play. And we have all the time in the world to a degree, because they can hit the rewind button, so to speak. But something's different about this time. And I truly, honestly feel that the world is waking up in a way that it has not before. And that it's profound. It's unprecedented. And we're going to get a flood of incredible, beautiful affection to pour in and help us to raise our consciousness. I shouldn't say raise, it's more like expand. Expand and include. So don't burn bridges, build them. You know, don't lose your appreciation for humanity, increase it. Um, the path to joy is through purpose. When you fucking have purpose and you are in love with it, it leads to absolute and total extreme levels of joy. So strong that it can take you out. So strong that it can just be too much. And so that's where you empty yourself, because you realize, oh, if it's too much, then there's something in the way. And so you just keep refining, purifying your spirit. So martial arts like Aikido really opened that door for me, because it's a path of purification. Even though it's a martial art, it's more of a path of purification, because the enemy is the self, right? So it's a totally different way of looking at it. Um, I think Morihei Ueshiba is onto something there. I think the enemy is within. I think the enemy is the hive mind. I think the enemy is the possession. I think we're heading for a planetary exorcism. I think we're gonna find out that we were lied to about everything, and we're going to have a hard time with some of it, but we're also going to get really light because of how much weight will come off. Um, the simplest things will return to us. There's a level of trust that will return, that was taken because we were so handing our power over to those that were in authority, that told us how the world works. And just a matter of being willing and able to call out things for what they are, speak up, speak truth to power, find your fucking voice. I don't care what it takes. Scream. Just get it, go to build and let it out. Who cares? Go somewhere where you won't hold back. Don't hurt your neck. I mean, don't try to fucking hurt yourself. Just start getting it out. There's pain in there. There's wounds. There's longing that isn't being acknowledged. There's avoiding that's occurring. For me too. So I know that we're all very similar. I know that I'm not the only one. It's okay to not to have pain. I can't get all the pain that I have out all at once. I need to go about it over the course of time. Doesn't mean I'm not. It's gonna hold me back from doing incredible shamanic, you know, or whatever. I'm not gonna not live my life because I'm not whole, but because my purpose is to be whole. It gets real obvious where I want to put my energy and my time, my focus. Meditation is focus. It's focusing on the abstract. It's holding a line of intent with energy, with feeling. It's passionate. You're intending to stay with the mystery rather than go back to the hive mind. That's focus. So you want to develop your masculine and your feminine. It's always both. And I have a lot of, I have a lot of both, but the sickest skateboarders and snowboarders and martial artists have a lot of, and basketball players and baseball players, and often like the quarterbacks, like certain people that have to play a certain level of finesse have more feminine energy than an average male athlete or a male in general. There's men that can just throw down on the dance floor because they're in there. They're okay with their feminine power. Um, when you're willing to, when you heal your nervous system, then you go back to what you naturally are rather than what your sister's boyfriend made you think you were supposed to be and told you what to wear when you were 10, and how that still affects you to this day. Like, we have a lot of weird things that hijacked our natural knowing about how to be. And so we've taken on that stuff, and it's really hard to get to the honesty. How do you get to the honest place of like, oh, okay, well, if you empty your field through purification, it'll just come to you. So rather than try to change and force yourself to be what you think you might be, just purify. Just raise the vibration in all the different ways we've talked about. You can just take a break from the things that drain you. I know it's scary. It's confronting as hell. But you're going to get so much from that. And then you're going to feel so good, and then you can go back to it. It's okay to watch the fucking satanic Netflix or whatever if you're into the show. Don't. This is life. I watch the news. I watch the shit. It is what it is. If it was draining me, I wouldn't do it. And I spent years not doing it so that I know where my energy's at. I know what I can handle. Um, and time is different for me. When you have intensity available to you, then you get a lot done in 30 seconds. Because it's timeless. When you're in that focused state and you're truly um, attaching, because in order to detach, one needs to be able to attach. Like, to be indifferent is means that you can also be passionate. You can be passionately indifferent. You can be, it's knowing the full gamut, right? People say, oh, nothing matters, we need to stay out of everything and just observe. But yeah, I agree, until it comes to your front door, right? Until spirit provides an opportunity for you to step into your power. Like, if somebody's being attacked or abused or hurt, and it's in your reality, you will be called to stand up and understand what the armor of God is, in a physical sense, not just in a spiritual dreaming way. So honesty. Where are you at? Can you handle the police? Can you handle standing up to somebody? Can you look them in the eye? And it's okay if not, but you want to know why, and you want to work with people that can help you with your yeses and your nos and your shadow work. This is intense. What's going on with children being pursued uh, with this experiment, and it's each parent that is choosing to allow that or push that or put that on their children is doing. They likely are doing it because they really believe what they're doing is the right thing. It's going to be really hard for people to find out what door they've opened if those are not placebos, right? So we're in a really, really difficult situation. Not that it's not perfect. It is. It has to be this way. I believe everything's perfect, and that it's all um, the only possible route to freedom. Is it's designed this way. Not like, so intent is available to all parties. Anyone can use it. And now we're finding out that those that have access to their own intent are using it against us, in a sense. And as more and more of us realize that, we will come to terms with their power, which will in turn help us understand our own. It's a moment of reflection. And so I recommend reflecting on your life so that you become very honest about reflection, and that the triggers, if you're really upset with someone in this world, there's something there for you. If they make you really angry, or there's a reason that it's not nothing to do with them, it's a reflection of yourself. And so this is deep shadow work, right? This is heavy stuff to come to terms with. And once we do that inner work, then we are so much more effective at our transitioning from being offended toward being grateful. And that we look to all the characters and all of their messages and all of their lessons as necessary, as a perfect means for us to come to terms with the danger and the potential of this realm. I highly, highly recommend that we do everything to keep access to this realm, that we become caretakers of this earth. Thank you, guys.